Welcome to the new FPL season, guys. In this video, we're going to be talking about my Gameweek 1 team selection as we look forward to the FPL deadline tomorrow. If you're new around here, do like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you have any questions pertaining to what we're going to talk about in this video, and I'll do well to get back to them as quickly as possible before the deadline tomorrow. Now, let's get right into it. In goal, I'm going with Mark Flecken. He was the fifth highest goal scoring keeper in FPL last season. Although Brentford's defense was looked really shaky in the preseason, I do believe that with the first game of the FPL season being at home, I do see them. I don't know if they're possibly going to be clean sheets, but Flecken has always been one to give decent amount of save points. So I am backing him to return some save points. Crystal Palace have been a really good side since Glasner took over. I do expect Brentford to concede, but we're hoping for, mostly safe points from him. He has some decent fixtures in the first 7 game weeks, although he plays Liverpool and Man City in between those games. But I do believe he can rack up a few save points. So I'm going to be going with Mark Flecken as well as Lucas Fabianski as my backup goalkeeper. I have heard news that Jose Sa is most likely getting links to leaving the Premier League before the summer window slams shut. If that happens, I may go for Bentley, the Wolves backup goalkeeper, as my substitute goalkeeper. He's 4.0. I don't think we're really going to see a lot of 4.0 goalkeepers that start this season. So whichever you decide to pick, it really doesn't matter. Just try to get a solid 4.5 or 5.5 or 5.0 goalkeeper that you're convinced with. In defense, I'm going with Lewis Hall, Saliba, and Mikolenko. Lewis Hall looked really great for Newcastle in the preseason. He came away with 1 goal and 2 assists in all their preseason games. With the absence of Sven Botman, Fabian Schär currently picking up an injury, we're most likely going to see Dan Bond moving into the central back position, which would most likely allow Lewis Hall to operate from the left wing, from rather the left back. We saw that playing for Newcastle under Eddie Howe, he mostly drifts into the midfield, which enables him to get a lot of, chances for assists and potentially goals. So I think he is a decent threat, both defensively, or rather attacking wise for Newcastle. And if we see Newcastle return to their solid way defensively, then it could be a potential route to the Newcastle defensive clean sheet. So I'm going to be going with Lewis Hall as my Newcastle asset. Saliba, Arsenal had the best defensive record last season. We saw their game against Lyon. They don't look like a side that wants to concede a lot of goals this season. They dominated the game. Arsenal are really good attacking wise, set pieces. It's like they play to get these set pieces, right? They're dominating the set pieces. And who do we have when they, go in at those set pieces? You have the likes of Saliba, you have the likes of Gabriel. I was really tempted by Gabriel because he is more of an attacking defender than Saliba is. But the thing is, they're going to be playing a lot of competitions this season. And you have the likes of Calafiori that just came in. You have Jakob Kiwior. You have Julian Timber that just came back from injury. You potentially have Ben White that could even slot into the central back position. But I just don't see Saliba getting rested mostly in, majority of the games. He is their best defender and he also has that potential attacking threat. So I will be going with Saliba as my Arsenal defender. And just because I know that if I don't have an Arsenal defender now, it would potentially be so difficult for me to fit one in to my team as the season goes on because I don't plan to activate my wild card as early as I don't plan to activate it early anyways. So yeah, I'll be going with Saliba as my second defender. Mikolenko would be my third defender in my lineup. Everton had one of the best defenses last season. They considered few goals, especially at home. They're potentially going to be hit with another point deduction. Last season we saw them get hit with point deduction, I think twice or so, and they went on a really good run of 6 games or 7 games where they were on a winning streak. Within those 6, 7 games, they kept about 4 to 5 clean sheets. Mikolenko is pretty much nailed as the left back for Everton as it stands. So I think he's really good value. Everton quite strong defensively. We've seen how good Sean Dyche's sides tend to be. So I'm going to be going with Mikolenko. It was really a tough choice for me between him and Robinson. I still may change my mind because I have 1 million in the bank. I may decide to upgrade him to Pedro Porro or Munoz of Crystal Palace because I mean they offer better attacking outputs than him, and they play. I potentially think that they're playing for better things. So it may be one that I may still, I haven't really made up my mind on whether or not he's going to be in my team. But as of now, before the deadline, I have Nikolenko as my third starting defender going into the FPL, the new FPL season. The other two defenders I have in my team currently are Valentino Barco and Howard Bellis. Although we have heard news that Stupinian was currently, I think he was apparently pictured in training. I don't know whether that affects Baku's minutes because he has been really, really decent for Brighton in the preseason. Really, really great involvement for them. He's on set pieces as well. Really good link up play with his winger on the left side. Although we've heard links of a defender that's going to be signed from Fenerbahce, but I don't really think that affects Baku so to say. I think it's going to be him and Estepinian. Even if Estepinian is back, I think he's going to share minutes. But due to the risk, we don't know what the minutes are going to be like. I'm looking at shifting Valentino Barco to Faiz of Leicester City. Although I don't know that we're going to see a lot of clean sheets from Leicester City this season. I potentially think they're one of the teams that we're going to be targeting in this FPL season. But I'm going to be going with Valentino Barco for the time being ahead of the deadline. That's one I'm going to be looking at changing potentially before the deadline rolls around. Howard Bellis of Southampton is going to be my fifth FPL defender going into the deadline. Now we go into my midfield. We have Nkunku, we have Gordon, we have Salah, and we have Minte of Brighton. Nkunku, very, very good, bargain, essentially for me. I believe that he has the potential to actually become Chelsea's best player this season. Chelsea really missed him a lot last season. The whole weight of the whole team was just on Cole Palmer. We saw that he was in really, really good form for Chelsea this season, in the preseason rather. He scored about 3 goals, gave about 2 assists for them in the preseason. And I believe that he's a versatile player, right? He can play anywhere across the front line, potentially meaning that he's gonna be getting a lot of game time, whether he's starting as a false nine or a left winger or a central attacking midfielder or on the right. I potentially think that Nkunku is a really, really good value and good option, or rather good route into the Chelsea attack this season. He's 6.5. Chelsea's fixtures go green from second the game week 2. So I think it's a really good shout if you're looking for a route into Chelsea's attack. And I don't really think Cole Palmer may start the Man City game due to the fact that he returned to preseason late. I may be wrong. We may see him, get into the starting lineup. But I do back on Kunku either ways. We may see an early penalty. If Cole Palmer isn't on the field, I do know Nkunku is going to be taking that penalty. So it's a good budget, good value pick, in my opinion. Anthony Gordon, I really need to speak much about Anthony Gordon. Racked up a load of points for Newcastle, especially at home games. He's going to be playing at home against Southampton in the opening fixture of the season. I do really, really back Anthony Gordon to outperform what he did for Newcastle last season. He came right into the squad in the last preseason game and got a goal. Um, that just shows the kind of player he is. I really think he's a really good value. I was really, really stuck between going for him or going for Jota, but I think I'm going to stick with, Anthony Gordon for now, just because Jota's minutes may be rotated, seeing that Nunes and Gakpo are all back. They have many other options that they can pick for, but Gordon offers better routes to minutes, so I'm going to be going with Anthony Gordon. Salah, pretty much nailed on in my team. He remains Liverpool's best player, and I truly believe that he's gonna he always starts off the season strongly, especially when he plays against newly promoted sides. Ipswich, I don't think they're gonna keep a clean sheet in that game, to be very honest. Salah has a fantastic record in opening games of the season. I do back him to get a haul in this game. He's potentially going to be my captain going into the, game week 1 after the deadline. Minte, my fourth midfielder, was really, really explosive for Brighton in the preseason. Got himself 3 goals, 2 assists. A really, really explosive winger, good on both feet. Um, I do feel for Adingra because he doesn't look like he's going to be getting a lot of minutes due to Minte's um, breakthrough at Brighton so far in the preseason. I do back him to take that form into the season and potentially go far and do well. So I really do back Mente to get off to a good start for Brighton this season. I do back him, so he's going to be my fourth midfielder in my team. My fifth midfielder is going to be Sangari of Nottingham Forest. Yes, he's a defensive midfielder, but he has scored some decent goals for Nottingham Forest. I don't really value wings in my team as my fifth placeholder. Yes, he's a starter for Leicester as well, but I don't think they're just going to do really well in the Premier League season. I didn't really enjoy watching them in the preseason, so I'm going to be going with Sangari as my fifth midfielder in my FPL team ahead of the deadline tomorrow. Now, in my attack, I'm going with Alexander Isak, Solanke, and Erling Haaland. Now, Ishak is going to be playing a home game against Southampton. I really do think he's going to be a very, very popular captain pick for Game Week 1. Ishak doesn't really know, fixtures. He can score home, he can score away. He's been really decent for Newcastle in the preseason as well. I think he got 2 goals and 2 assists in their preseason games. Really, really good form. Refresh. He didn't play the Euros, so I really do back him. He scored about 20 goals, 21 goals for Newcastle last season. He has been on terrific form for them. He's on penalty duties as well. I do back him to get a great haul against Southampton, to be very honest. I'm going to talk about Erling Haaland. 5 goals for Man City in the preseason. He scored a hat trick against Chelsea. I think the final game of the preseason friendlies. Scored a hat trick. Really, really, really looking sharp. He didn't go for the Euro, so he's fully recharged for the FPL season. I do back him to even get some goals against Chelsea. The defense has looked a bit shaky. So yeah, Erling Haaland, I think he's going to be a popular pick in most FPL teams as well. Although I've seen most FPL drafts currently don't have Erling Haaland in the team. Well, I'm going with Erling Haaland ahead of the FPL deadline Game Week 1 tomorrow. My third striker, Dominic Solanke, I'm going with him because he's, an affordable route into the Spurs attack. Ideally, my best option for the Spurs assets would be Heung-min Son. He has a terrific record against Leicester. He's played 14 games against them, scored 9 goals, given 6 assists. But because of the way my team is structured, I can't go for Heung-min Son. And I know that Dominic Solanke is a really, really decent asset to own. He scored about 18 goals last season, and he dropped a video saying that, he's going to try to better his record of last season. We may potentially see him take penalty duties off Heung-min Son when he goes to Spurs. Andy Postecoglou also mentioned in his press conference that Dominic Solanke is going to go right into the Game Week 1 starting 11. So if it's a worry on whether you want to own Dominic Solanke ahead of the deadline, I do really back him to start, get off the mark. He's been really, really great for Bournemouth. I think playing for Angie in the attacking high line, really going to do well under them. They're going to be playing against Leicester on Monday nights. I do back him to get some potential returns in that game. So this is my FPL team going into the final game week, or rather the first game week of the season. Now, if you have any questions, please do well to leave them in the comment section, and I will get back to them as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching the video, guys. See you in the next FPL video. Thank you.